The Secret Life of Ashley Brown, Book 4, written by George Fitzgerald. Chapter 1. I felt miserable. On the plane, in my apartment, and on the job. It didn't matter. I was alone, broken-hearted, and frightened. Missing my family and desperately missing them. If I thought I loved them before, I knew I did now. Because there wasn't a day I didn't think of them. Every morning I was sure that this was the day that I'd ring him. And every evening when I came home I was glad I decided not to. My apartment was cool. Well, it wasn't an apartment, it was more a room in an attic. The spacious room was in Greenwich. Just minutes from Greenwich Park. From the top of the hill you could see the curves of the Thames, a fantastic place, a village populated by professionals with links to central London. Small as my room was, I loved it. There was a two-seater sofa, upholstery in bright green with red wallpaper as the backdrop, matching the colour wheel. The walls of the bathroom were cream with prints from local artists. My pencils and my brushes were there. They were all the inspiration I needed to paint. The night storm had stopped. The passing traffic sounded like waves. The sun high above the clouds, flashing scarlet lines in the sky. I took out my canvas and my brushes. The picture in my head is divided between the sun dyeing the sky in intense splendour, bathing the clouds in blood, dripping my brush into the paint, and allowing the paint to come alive. I lit the canvas with bright greens, beautiful colours, the lampshades, the light, adding motion among the flaming floods of the sky. I was in that happy place, in that moment, but Dean is never far away. Chapter 2. Sara occupied the room below. Her thing was photography. Her room had neither radio or television. There was a mirror on the wall, at the door, reflecting the window, the weather and the rooftops in front. Every wall was covered in photographs. There were pictures of streets, people, parks, buildings, all shot in film. I could see she knew where to cast the eye. Sometimes a couple of inches is the difference between getting the shot or not, because it's all about light. How beautifully lucid her pictures were, each one containing her fingerprint, the gem that stamped her work. The sense of wonder expressed in her art was summed up in a word: community. She loved community. And yet sometimes it was like I got the distinct impression that it was like a wall in a detective's office, as if she's watching somebody. Sara got me the room. That day is still very vivid in my memory. I was standing outside the street with a shop to my right that had a sign saying traditional pie and mash with eels. To the left was a gallery, in front was the railings. The world might have been left behind me, the one I came from, but now it was set and I watched Greenwich meantime. But Sara didn't. She always loved to live late into the night, strolling in the darkness. That was her thing. But she came strolling along with her bright green handbag hanging on her right arm. She was wearing a reflective yellow raincoat, matching shoes and pearl choker, and her sunglasses were bolted to the top of her head. Oh, darling, I met the most dashing man up the street. So sweet. He asked me for a drink. Not that I had a drink. He asked me would I go for a drink. Too early for vino, darling, too early, I said. She pulled her glasses off her head and stuck them on her face. Do I look like a film star, do I? Then she said something in French. It was so quick it went by me. The glasses went back on her head when I gave no answer. We walked together. She picked up the pace. She liked to keep in front. Now and then, she'd slide her glasses onto her nose to eye a stranger. You look a fright, darling. We need to begin to go shopping. You look like Petula Clark in that coat. I shall call you Miss Clark. My father loved downtown. He sang it all the time. This was it. My introduction to the new city. No hellos. No how are you. No nothing like that. Did you enjoy the flight? Was it safe? Were you happy? How are you feeling? Nothing whatsoever. Just straight in with the conversation and plenty of darlings that came from my friend, Sara. Chapter 3. Sara stood 5 foot, of slim build, with long black hair. She had an energising effect on others. Her accent mirrored someone who had power, money and influence, of which she had little. She concerned herself with matters such as vocabulary and style, ending most sentences with "my darling this," as I said, or "my darling that." She was there to sort out my life by introducing me to the perfect English gentleman. Her first choice was Edward, the soon-to-be best-selling author who lived in a room next to hers. His work was wonderful. That's what she said. His work is wonderful, darling. Anyway, he worked in a coffee shop not far away from where we resided. Ash, my darling, what do you think of Edward? Well, before you say a word, I believe you will get on famously together. The way I see it, you have to give him a chance. You belong to each other, Ash, my darling. My lovely, lovely darling, Edward is one for you, the one for you, Ash. I went to talk, as in open my mouth. I'm sure she saw my lips move. She cut in saying, Edward said, he loves your hair, blonde and gold and in the light. He loved the slim dress and the pearl earrings, her pink cheeks, large lips, very attractive. That's what he said, Ash. That's what he said. Familiar girl with the pearl earrings. Strange how he dropped that in with such poetic license. Such a touch of a writer, don't you think, Sara? I mean, really? I love writers. My Uncle Tom was a writer. Yes, he read us bedtime stories as children with our parents, when they were out, I mean. An artist, I love them too. Old men like Picasso, bald men, have something to say, don't you think? Uncle Peter was bald. A delightful chap. She used another French word that again flew over my head. Uncle Peter left for Spain some years ago. Beautiful man he was. Beautiful man. But he never came back. He had a row with my aunt Pippa over chicken. So he left, as I said, never came back. Oh, I do miss Uncle Peter. She hummed a song, then she sang another, until we both jammed out a few drunken versions of Downtown. Sara laughed and cried over Uncle Peter, who went away and never came back, and her Aunt Pippa and the chicken that never got cooked. After a long night and a lot of drink, I found the keys to my door and lay, dressed on the bed. The silent night was restless, like a child needing a sleep. Chapter 4. In the morning, the sun burnt its rays upon the earth, blazing upon the rooftops, and every tree and every green field. I heard a gentle tap on the door and an exclusive cough as I called them. Hello, 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 hello. I opened it, and knowing who who it was. Of course, it was Sara. Walked in, she flicked her hair back, revealing her narrow face. Don't you ever sleep? Too much on my mind, darling. Too much on my mind. Yeah, you said. Too much on my mind. She bit her bottom lip and crossed the floor. I wonder what was going on in her mind that was too much on. She was always on the go, meeting different people all the time. Always so full of life. Although, once or twice, I heard her shouting like a crazy woman. A week before, I saw her on the street. She was in the company of two people. Sara was wagging her finger and tongue so loudly that the people in traffic were looking. As I approached her, I asked her, "Is everything okay?" She just brushed it off, saying, "Oh, just a client refusing to pay for some photo shoots I did with her daughter, Ash, darling. Nothing to worry about, nothing to worry your little head about." Her eyes latched onto my painting. She gave her nose a little rub and made a smile. So I wanted to smile too. I didn't want to hear about Edward. I wanted silence and appreciation for my work from Sara, a person whose opinion I valued. Your future is bright. Ash, she said, leaving. Thank you, I whispered behind her. There was the moment when I believed everything she said, because I believed that my skill as a writer was improving. But I believed my skill as a painter was really, definitely going to define me. Chapter 5. On the job front, everything that struck me was, let me just revisit that sentence. On the job front, the first thing that struck me was the size of the building. The publishing house had 3 publishing sites in London alone. I was only there 8 weeks when I saw some discrepancies. Call it pot luck or the luck of the Irish, but I solved some major problems. It was an in-house issue that had to be quite truthful, deliberately done, because this threw me. I could not understand how a company with such fine reputation could have overlooked it. This became headline news among the staff, reaching across the head office into the ears of the top dogs. The next day I received a call inviting me to lunch with 2 of the big boys, one of which was to be my new boss come Monday. His name was Trevor Saunders. Without hesitation, I called a hackney and left my office. Reaching my apartment, I showered, pulled the wardrobe apart, found that little sexy number, jumped back into that hackney and arrived at the hotel in time. It's extraordinary what you notice the first time you meet someone. When I met Trevor Saunders, I was first struck by the neatly combed hair and expensive suit. He was tall. To my mind, he was somewhere in his mid-30s. The new 20s is more a cheerful way of putting it in our modern world of politically correctness. He smiled. He offered me another smile, and this one was quite tight, as if it was pretense. Hello, in an English accent, of course, he said. Quite upper-class English accent. You must be Ash, he said, and I noticed it was more of a booming Oxford one, may I say. Yes, and you are? I replied with confidence. Trevor Saunders. I know, I said jokingly. There was a moment, it was an awkward moment, for both of us seemed to be lost for words, and we both knew it. He cut in asking if I'd like to take a seat, or before he said that, he said, how are you finding London? Do you like London? Yes, it's nice, I said. Nice? Now there's a word that never impressed the grand English gentleman. Not wonderful or oppressive or bustling metropolis. No, nice. Here comes Tim, and right on time, Trevor said, stretching out his arm for a strong handshake. Tim Bramwell was older, perhaps in his late 50s. His mind was on the job and the small matter of making money, and lots of it. He introduced himself and then took Trevor's hand. Again, all three of us headed to a plush dining room. During lunch, I could tell that life to Tim Bramwell was one big game of Monopoly, and building his empire was the main reason for living. After listening to him for half an hour and seeing he was the only one who had anything worthwhile to say, I came to the staggering conclusion that it wasn't the really main reason of his life existence. The real main reason of his life existence was him and nobody else. Lunch came and went. Tim turned his attention to me. You've made an impression on us in such a short time, and it's only been 10 weeks and 8 weeks I cut across. 8 weeks, Tim explained, sitting back staring at me curiously. It wasn't the 8 weeks that impressed him now, but my cutting interruption that annoyed him. But being a gentleman, he tried not to show it. He wasn't successful because it was written all over his face. Quite assertive, aren't you, my dear? Turning to Trevor, he continued, the fighting Irish and all that. I say there's a jolly good fight in them. It's an Irish thing, he revealed with a quick smile. Quick to respond to that fighting Irish spirit, I jested. No, it's a forward-thinking thing that often flows around humans irrespective of their nationality. Sorry, let me just repeat myself here. Nationality. I'm saying it wrong, a little bit nervous. But I am Irish, there's no doubt about that, from the wonderful city of Dublin. Placing his index finger on the top lip, he rubbed it across the edge while contemplating. I didn't flinch, nor did I show any signs of intimidation. Why? Because I wasn't even sure if I was going to stay in England. And you know what they say, never pick a fight with someone who has nothing to lose. Rising, he faced Trevor, saying, give her a bonus, take the rest of the day off, and show her the sights. He left, and that was it. And Trevor relaxed, and so did I. And a new story was about to begin in the life of Ashley Brown.